All right, everyone. Thank you for coming into the September 2024 Client Corner. The purpose of this meeting is really to just capture a few ideas that I might see out and about and share them with you. They tend to be things that everybody can use. And lest I forget to tell you about them when we have our consultation, this is an easy way for me to share and distribute information. Agenda for today is talking a little bit about what I learned at Benefit Auction Summit. This is a summit that's put on every year by the National Auctioneers Association. I don't necessarily go every year, but I did this year. It was held in Coral Gables, so I want to talk about a few things I was exposed to. We're going to talk about auction rules, which I think is going to be relevant for most of you. Some email marketing, which absolutely is relevant for all of you, and some company updates. With regards to the summit highlight, first thing I want to talk about, you may know Rachel Muir. I'm not even sure how to pronounce her last name. She's a fundraising consultant. I've heard her speak a number of times at different events. Always really enjoy her style, and she does a great job of researching different interesting campaigns for fundraising. But in the process of listening to her, I got many ideas, but there were just a couple that I wanted to share with you. The first one was how the nonprofits really raise money. Now, when Rachel was on stage sharing great stories and great marketing campaigns, at no time did she say events were a bad way to raise money, but she's in front of a bunch of auctioneers who do nothing but go to events. And so in our lunchtime period, I asked her, I said, hey, I wrote down all these different ways that nonprofits are trying to raise money, right? That might be through peer-to-peer fundraising. It might be through an end-of-year ask. It might be through online fundraising types of things. I said, out of all this list of 15 things that I jotted down, what's the best way for these nonprofits to raise money? The three that she immediately went to was monthly donors, direct ask, like major donors, developing major donors, and estate planned gifts. In fact, in her presentation, a lot of what she spent time on was this whole transfer of wealth. Perhaps you've seen it in other presentations as well, that there's a lot of money out there that is going to the next generation, if you will. And that if you can get written into an estate or into a will, that is an excellent way for you to get some of that money if you're a nonprofit. In fact, just today, I got an email from Food and Friends, which is a large nonprofit here in the Washington, D.C. area. They were inviting me to a free online seminar where they've got a lawyer and a Ameritrade, which is an Amex, American Express, financial consultant who are going to be leading this, and they're going to be talking about estate and planning gifts. Now, I thought, wow, that's really smart of Food and Friends to be doing that because they know that people are pulling their wills together. And the average age that someone creates a will is age 52. That's in general. So I said, well, what are events raising? And she gave me the same statistic that I'd heard in the past, 50 cents on the dollar. Now, why am I telling you this as an auctioneer who should be promoting events? This is really for those of you that maybe are just getting started, right? Maybe you're a smaller nonprofit. Keep in mind that if you are really struggling as a nonprofit, I'll figure out ways to pay my mortgage. But if you're struggling as a nonprofit, the best way to raise money are the 3 points that are up there right now. It's not through auctions. I'll tell anybody who calls me if they're asking, hey, we're thinking of doing an auction. I'll say, you know what? Call me back when you're ready to do an auction because I'm not here to convince you to do an auction. They're a lot of work. And if you don't do them right, you're going to be upside down on them. So from that standpoint, I'm just sharing that information with you because that's what fundraising consultants see out there in the world. Now, I like to think that most of the auctions that I'm involved with are doing very well on the fundraising side of it. But generally speaking, events raise 50 cents on the dollar and auctions are thrown into that category of galas and so forth. The second thing that she said that I thought was critical was all about stories, because so much of what she shared were stories, people in the nonprofit sharing some little tidbit that could be shared in a different way, in an email newsletter, perhaps on the stage at the gala, perhaps in a direct mail campaign. She gave an idea of starting each staff meeting with some sort of a client story, sharing that story so other other employees can hear it, but also rewarding nonprofit staff for sharing those stories. So if you think about, say, I've got a couple of events coming up here that are food pantries. You can get a story from a volunteer who is working in that food pantry. It's not an employee, it's a volunteer, but they're interacting with the clients as they're coming in to get food. Somewhere along the line, they're going to hear some story, or they're going to know somebody and say, oh yeah, I know Kathy. She's relatively new. She's fallen on hard times. She's going to school and raising two little kids. They're going to have those stories too. And those are types of examples that you can tap into that we can then turn around and use at a gala. So that was the second piece. Talking about another element that I learned from the summit is there were a lot of vendors there, and a new one that I ran into was called VacationAwards. Now, for those of you looking for low cost trips, they grabbed my attention. So although they've been out there, I know that a number of different California auctioneers were already working with them. They were new to me. The account exec lives in California, although when you dial his number, it's going to come up as Michigan because he was raised in Grand Rapids, but that is his name. And these, I said, okay, if we go to your site, which I want to do here in a moment, but if we go to your site, what are the top 3 sellers? And so he said, these are the 3 that we sell the most. On the left is the 7-night dream vacation. They've got all these resorts around the globe. I said, well, can you give me an example of some of the names of them? He said, it changes all the time. He said, so when it comes time for you to use this in your event, you're going to get a list of 20 or 30 different resorts at that time so that you can have some good examples. But it's all around the globe, $750 for 7 nights for 2 beds. That's a good deal. That's going to light some of you up. Number 2 in the middle there is the luxury all-inclusive getaway. $1,350 for 4 nights, but you can increase that. You can see that at the bottom there, $1,500 for 5, $1,750 for 6. These are a lot of dreams and secrets resorts. These are, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're owned by Hyatt and kind of romantic, I would say. They're more on the romantic side, like Couples Getaway. And sure enough, you'll notice that on this package, it's for 2 guests, not for 4, like the Vacation Getaway for $750 was. And then finally, on the right-hand side, he has a ton of Hawaii stuff. And of the Hawaii stuff that he said was the best, it was this oceanfront Aloha Maui resort vacation, $2,100 for 4 nights. But again, if you want to increase the number of nights, you can. And just to give you an idea there, that's going all the way up to 8 if you were going to go 4,100. But those are villas, studio villas up to 2-bedroom villas. So this is his website. This is not as deep of a catalog, say, as Winspire or MitchStuart, but they do have some of the basics that you would expect. Notice the Kauai. I've been to Kauai several times, and one of the nicest hotels on Kauai is the Westin. It's at the Point. That is one of the trips that they have here. I don't remember what name they go by. You have to kind of click in to see. Let's see what this is. It may be Majestic Bluff. We'll see if this is it. Yeah, the Westin Princeville. That's on the north shore of Kauai. Beautiful property over there. So they've got that. Again, if you're looking to add nights, you could do something like that. But they have primarily lower cost stuff. The Maldives, one of you was asking me about the Maldives, and we only found one other consignor that does Maldives. They do. He said this is their highest priced offering that they've got, though, $8,500, and that is pretty high. But look at that. I don't know what this is, $700 over here, $1,500, Lake Tahoe, Newport Beach, Park City, Myrtle Beach. I don't know of any other group that does Myrtle Beach. They've got a Myrtle Beach one. Those might be numbers that you that excite you. Okay, moving on. MitchStuart was there as well. He said, hey, we've got a new package too. It's the 4-night all-inclusive package for 2. Interestingly, this is also dreams and secrets. I'm almost wondering if I'd have to look and see what's going on with the locations. But if some of these are, the way that I'm learning that some of these resorts work is they might work with specific consigners. So maybe Secrets has 8 properties over in Dominican Republic. They might share 4 of them with MitchStuart and 4 of them with a different consigner. Others share with anybody. So I'd have to go in and dig, but pretty much it looks like the price, $1,495, is roughly what we just saw on the other consigner, $1,500. But I thought it was interesting that MitchStuart just released this as well. Another one is auction packages. Some of you have worked with them in the past. They did a big releases of new packages. The Polar Express train ride, I thought that was kind of interesting for the right client. You know, it's 3 nights in the Grand Canyon, but you get to ride this train and you stay in a railroad type of hotel. They've got one in Texas. If you like horses, they've got a trail ride. I thought, gosh, all of the sorts of boots and bling events that I do, and somebody's looking for some sort of a package around that might fit in. They do have a Keith Urban concert in Vegas. It's a pretty attractive price for 2 nights at less than $2,000. However, that date is coming up pretty fast, so you'd probably have to have a fall event. They've got something in Denver with the Red Rocks, and they've got a Jamaican private home for 10. The reason I pulled that in is because I do have one client who's always looking for homes that sleep 10. They need 5 bedrooms, and that's a little trickier to find than the standard 4 or fewer. So I just wanted to pull that in because I know that Smart Kids for learning disabilities with learning disabilities always looks for a 10-person home. Now, he did ask if there were any suggestions I had for locations, and I suggested La Perche, France, because I sold a package there many years ago. It was a private home. I did the research on that area. I thought it was very cool. So I said, I haven't seen any consigners do anything in that area. Who knows whether they'll find anything to work with or not. But I share that with you because if there's any locations that you'd really like to see developed, let me know, and I'll pass those along to the consigners too, and we'll see. Maybe you'll be able to proudly say that you helped get a package designed because you wanted a specific area. Another highlight, CharityGetaways, formerly known as Silent Auction Vacations. I've got to learn more information about this, but this is kind of exciting. They have, they're launching a new foundation to give grants to small nonprofits so that those small nonprofits can then, like, I think, turn around and buy a trip from them to feature in their auction. Now, I think in the short time that I had with her that all of you are going to be too big to take advantage of this. She's really looking at itty bitty auctions of $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, I think, and most of you are going to be bigger than that. But I did think that that was really a valiant effort on their part in trying to figure out ways to get small groups who want to have a successful event off the ground. Finally, I just want to remind you that in the Digital Lounge, there's a course that I pulled together called Mastering Nonprofit Auction Consignment that takes you through the consignment industry. Many people, when they're first getting into this and planning an auction, have no idea how this industry works or how big it is. I'm telling you, there is no other class out there that delves into consignment like this. I would be willing to bet that a number of auctioneers don't even understand the depths of this. So if you're looking for a really good knowledge base, take a look at that course because you'll get a good understanding. Now, granted, I released that like 18 months ago. We've had a couple of name changes, right? Silent Auction Vacations is now CharityGetaways. We've had some people leave the business, right? Inspirato is now out. But for the most part, that content is still going to be current. Moving on, auction rules here. Talked before to many of you about the idea that I think that there's 4 cornerstones to a successful auction. One of those is item acquisition. The second is audience development. The third is operations. And the fourth is add-ons like your raffles, your games, and your fund and eat. Rules falls into operations. This is something that you need to have in your catalog or in your online platform. If you've got an auction website, sometimes a separate link is on there for that. Generally, it's got to be somewhere. Now, how many rules you have is entirely up to you. What I have that I email out when I have this discussion with clients is there's a 3-page document that I pulled together a long time ago whereby I had gone through a number of different catalogs and pulled out rules. Sometimes people have one set of rules. Other times they'll have general rules, silent auction rules, and live auction rules. So in this document, which if you want it, you can email me and I will send it to you, but it's divided into general rules, silent, and then live. Specifically in here, when you read through it, there's going to be one rule that is called, that is tied to UCC 2.328. Now, this is the Uniform Commercial Code, and this is what auctions in general fall under. There is no national auction law or federal law that addresses auctions, but this is generally when we go to court, if an auctioneer goes to court, this is what it's held under, is the UCC or Uniform Commercial Code. Now, the reason I'm bringing this to your attention, because if you're using consignment, you really need to have one particular rule in your catalog. And in it is this. Some packages may have reserve pricing. The committee reserves the right to bid or have the auctioneer bid on those packages to reach the reserved level. The auction committee reserves the right to withdraw from the auction any item for which bids do not reach a satisfactory level. This falls under 2.328. In a sale by auction, if goods are put up in lots, each lot is the subject of a separate sale. Part number 4 of this is if the auctioneer knowingly receives a bid on the seller's behalf, or the seller, now keep in mind, you're the seller for a consignment package, or the seller makes or procures such a bid, and notice has not been given to the guests that this bidding is reserved, then the buyer may, at his option, avoid the sale or take the goods at the price of the last good faith bid prior to the completion of the sale. So in other words, if you don't have this rule, if you don't tell people, hey, we've got a few items here that have reserves, and if there was an issue later on that item, right, it always comes down to if there was an issue. You can do whatever you want with your auction until there's a problem, and then there's going to be some consequences. But if there's a problem, what it comes down to is, did you tell people, yeah, in some cases, we're going to be bidding on behalf of ourselves. And either I'm going to bid on your behalf or you're going to bid on your behalf. For some of you, you say, oh, we like to have somebody in the room. The development director is going to raise their paddle as if someone's bidding, right? In other cases, I'm managing that for you. So that's an example of a rule that you want to have in your auctions. Really only applicable if you're using consignment or you have any items that you know you cannot just sell for any old price. Marketing emails. I wanted to spend some time talking about this because marketing is critical to your auction, not only to sell tickets and so forth, but once you have your live auction items, this is really something that it behooves you to get the word out about those auction items to your guests in advance. You can do that through marketing emails. You can also get people excited about your event through marketing emails. So what I want to do is I'm going to share with you, I've got a couple of groups that are currently blasting out emails, and I just want to show them to you so that you can see what other people are doing. One is a very large group, the other one is a small organization. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the first one, this is coming out on July 24th. Let me bring it up for you. This event is for a group in San Diego. They do a great job of marketing, and their event is coming up here the first weekend of October. So serving seniors back in July, the first email went out for this. It's called the Sunshine Gala. Give the very basics here as far as what's going to be happening. Highly anticipated gala, it's back. This is where it's going to be part of an unforgettable night. They talk a little bit, cocktail reception, gourmet dinner, live auction. They have some photos here from the prior events. I think this actually is from the last 2 years, not even just last year, but the last 2 years, kind of showing that. And then they have a picture of Elton John, and you might wonder why, or somebody that looks like him. They have an Elton John theme this year. So you don't necessarily see that in this first email, but he's certainly making an appearance here. So here we can RSVP now, and we can go over to the website. We're not going to, I'm just showing you the emails, but that's the idea of it. Now let me open up the next email that they sent out, which was about 3 weeks later. This one was on August 13th. And in this case, this year's Sunshine Gala will be radical. All right, so here's what to expect, right? They've got kind of that same thing going on up there. Get ready to be inspired and have fun. Watch the video below to check out last year's gala to see what you have to look forward to. So this is a post-event marketing reel. This is something that they've got created after the gala last year. So we're not even looking at this year, but we're trying to show people how fun people had it last year, some of the elements. I'm going to play just a smidgen of this to see, make sure that it plays. But then as we scroll down too, you can see that they've already got one item that they know they're having in the live auction. So they've got it featured here. Already starting to promote that. Tribute artist Craig Meyer. Okay. Let's just see a little bit here, and then you can watch it later if you want.
Hey everyone, and welcome
Is it showing?
to
Okay.
our Serving Seniors Sunshine Gala. Thank you for joining us to celebrate the amazing work of this organization and the incredible impact it has on people's lives and the impact that you all bring to it by being here this evening in support. We're here to celebrate the lives forever changed, and we celebrate all of you. We hope you'll leave this evening feeling inspired and uplifted.
For more than a decade, I've had the pleasure of working alongside you to deliver Serving Seniors' mission, which is helping seniors.
I'm going to go ahead and share that link with you so that you can watch it later if you'd like. But for this purpose, I just kind of wanted to give you a sense of what they're looking at. So over here in chat, I'm just going to throw this. The next email that we see came out 2 weeks after that one. A little bit more. Elton John themed fundraising gala awaits. You've got less than 6 weeks away. Let's RSVP. Got some more event details that you can click through. Another live auction feature. See how that's already coming up. It's coming up early, not just like a few days in advance, but they're pushing that out in advance. Dress to Inspire. And they're showing some of his iconic. I know we're going to have some people show up in these kinds of costumes. Can't wait to see you there. All right, so that one came out, like I said, a couple of weeks later. Now we're going to look at the next one, which just came out September 7th. And this one we see has another video. Let me share this. Watch this special message from our CEO, Paul Downey. I'm going to scroll all the way down so you see the whole thing. Celebrate together. Plus, you could win raffle items. This group does not do a silent auction. They hate them. So they just do a bucket raffle instead. That's what that looks like. Now I'm going to click through and then I'm going to stop sharing and then we'll go watch Paul a little bit.
Benny and the Jets. Oh, hi there. Now, I bet I know what you're thinking. You're saying, Paul, you are one of the best dressed CEOs in town, but wow, you have upped your game today. Thank you. Well, the reason is that I'm here to talk to you about the Sunshine Gala, Serving Seniors annual event. It's October 5th, Hilton Torrey Pines. It's going to be a spectacular venue. We're going to be outside. We're going to be inside. We're going to have all sorts of fun. You're going to learn a little bit about serving seniors and what we do.
See how he's talking about what you're going to be doing?
And then you're going to get to dance the night away with the best Elton John tribute band in all the land.
I'm going to stop sharing this. I'm going to throw the chat over in the chat, that link so that you can watch that later. But I think that if you've got the right type of executive director or the right type of gala chair who can do something like this. I know Bullis in our area every year, the 2 gala chairs kind of have fun with the theme, and that goes on the website at the very beginning of their season. So to encourage people to have fun with the theme, this could be something that would work for you as well. And then the final email thus far that I can share with you came out on the 16th. So this was just yesterday. This is what this one looks like. Bright lights, big night. They got about a week to go here. Get ready for a spectacular program. And actually, just yesterday in the meeting that I had with them, we finalized the live auction items. So again, not everybody knows everything that's going to be there, but they know at least 2. They're repeating this one, which they knew was going to be in it. Now we see a video. This was the Fund a Need video from last year. So that's another way that you can use the videos that you create from prior years. So this is a very mission-driven video. That one is. Again, thanking their sponsors. Now I'm going to show you a very small organization and just a couple of the emails that they've been sending out. Serving Seniors has been doing more than what this other organization has, but still, we all want to be inspired by different types of events and groups. So this is Reach for Uganda, based here in the Arlington area. They're showcasing the venue that they're going to be having their event, talking about their online silent auction, talking about the Best of Live raffle, talking about black tie, right? What does that mean? I think it's kind of cute. They've got a little graphic there. People always want to know what to wear. So that's an example of an email. And that came out September 8th. A few days later, so she's not even waiting a week. She's starting to really push these out. A few days later, this email came out. Excitement is building. Talking a little bit about some of the items that they're going to have in their silent and live. We got some good photos there. Those are live items, actually. Pushing that out. And final one I'm going to show you. This is exclusively pushing their live Sunset over Lewis Beach and Little Shop of Horrors off Broadway. That's all she's doing at this point, is pushing her items to get the word out. You're going to find, especially on those items where it's a group package and people need to talk to other people in order to spend more money, they're going to be able to forward this to their friends and say, hey, do you want to bid on this together? So this is why we want to keep the marketing forward and our forethoughts here to make sure that we're getting content out. Okay, finally, see here. This class, marketing your auction. If you go in there, there's a bunch of it there. The first thing it talks about is email marketing. That part is still up to date. I give you examples of how you can create headlines or subject lines that people are going to want to read. And you're going to see a lot of examples of different marketing emails that I just showed you. You're going to see other examples of that. The rest of the course is outdated because it's talking about Twitter and LinkedIn, and it doesn't even mention Instagram. Maybe it's got Facebook in it, I don't recall, but pay attention to the email marketing piece of it, because that is still true and it's going to help you as far as crafting good subject lines. As far as company updates, when we're doing our Zoom meetings, you're probably going to see something called Fathom that's going to be showing up as a window. That is a tool that records the meeting and also takes notes. It's like an artificial intelligence backed system. So when you see meeting is being recorded, it's because of this Fathom tool that's going to be doing all of that. And then as far as technology updates, I just signed a contract for a new website to get developed. I've made it through the 2017 blogs at this point, so I'm still trying to go through and clean everything up. And once everything's done, then is when the digital lounge will get moved. So with that, do we have any questions? Share the emails to look more closely. Yes, I can do that. I can forward them to you. Okay, we're going to let this go. I got to clean up the recording here a little bit and we'll get it out to you. Thank you for participating. As always, it's nice to see your face.
Thanks, Sherry.
Thanks, Sherry.
Bye.